Sounds like someone I talked
to. All right, let's get into my own introduction. So I have a quantitative economics decision sciences major. I just like to say that because it sounds really nerdy. UC San Diego, that's the beautiful city of La Jolla, sister school of UCI, UCLA. We just don't have a football team at all, so that's why you don't know who we are. 30 years in the business, Orange County native, Capital Valley High School grad. That's off of Avery, if you know where that is. 9 kids. So for you that don't know, I do have 9 kids. And I hear Brady Bunch family all the time. We are way more than a Brady Bunch family because there's the extra column for Brady Bunch. They don't have this many kids. I brought 6. My wife brought 2. I adopted her. She adopted mine. We had this guy. He's about to turn 4.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, he is awesome. Handful, love him. He is awesome.
Alice the maid in there now.
Yeah, we just need Alice the maid. No, we don't have room. And then, we have my daughter got married as well, so we have an extra kid that we've brought into the family. So that happened 2 weeks ago. So newlyweds. And we've been in the press all the way from Financial Times of London, Warren Buffett's old home in Laguna Beach, all the way to New York Times, everywhere in between. So reports on housing, it's your local real estate snapshot. And that's our company. And really it's about bringing home strength and power of data to you. I don't care how long you've been in the business. Been in the business a long time, do 1,000 deals, or brand new in the business and have never done a transaction. Really what the report is about is it will give you exactly what's going on in the market backed by data. And the data is what helps you out more than anything else. Who here is a subscriber to the housing report in this room? So it's about 3/4 of the hand. So my fans are here. This is great. Absolutely love that. We don't focus on closed sales data because it is a kind of like a snapshot of the past. I don't really like to talk about the past when you're trying to plan for the future. That just doesn't work. Instead, I want to look out the windshield and talk about the available number of homes to show. That's supply, as well as demand, and that's a recent snapshot of escrow activity, last 30 days. I look at the same metrics over time. And that will give you the speed of the market. Place your home on the market. When are you opening up escrow? That's all that anybody should care about right now. And it's based upon what's demand look like, escrow activity, and what does the supply look like right now today. And our reports are used for the listing presentation, for get price reductions, to get buyers off the fence. You know your buyers that are talking about, I don't want to buy at the top of the market. Those people. Who's had anybody say, I don't want to buy at the top of the market? See how dumb that is? It's everybody's got their hand up. And this is why I write these reports, because I want to tell them, no, get back in the center ring. I know it's hard, but get back in. Take 2 weeks off. I don't care, but get back in when you're done. And I still believe that. And when I believe it, that's what I write about. And when I believe it, it's backed by data, and I show why. And it's just about, making more transactions happen to you by setting expectations. That's really what it's all about. And we have reports that dot all over Southern California, and LA and Orange County and San Diego just got the report this week. San Bernardino, Riverside get theirs next week. We are going to add the Bay Area in May. Bay Area is next, and then we'll do Las Vegas area and Phoenix as well, those counties. That's coming up because those are big metros. Blazing beginning. So at the start of this year, we had a very hot seller's market from day one of this year, and that is exactly what's going to happen at the start of 2022. It's actually going to be hotter than the start of this year. Then you've got bidding wars. I have to talk about this over and over again. And matter of fact, I have something to tell sellers. You place your home on the market, you get $100,000 over, fantastic. Now take that $100,000, go buy something else, pay $100,000 over. That's the mindset that they have to have. Seriously, that's this marketplace that we're in right now. Not, I got an extra $100,000, I don't want to pay over asking over here. That's dumb. That's just dumb thinking. So I heard that yesterday, some lender said it, and I was going, I'm adopting this. This sounds fantastic. This is exactly the mentality that sellers need to have when they place their homes on the market. Because bidding wars is happening like crazy. It's across the board. Waiting will be costly. I talk about this to buyers all the time. This happened to be April of this year. I just did a recent one. We'll talk about that in a second. Crash coming? Absolutely not. Is housing unaffordable? Less affordable. Is it unaffordable? No. That's why there's still people in the marketplace right now. It has a lot to do with a couple different things. Interest rates is one of them. Gigantic. It's not just median sales price. Everybody focuses on that. Let's talk about where rates are at. Where were they prior to the Great Recession? 6.35%. Where are they today? 3.1%. How about where median incomes are? Back in but right before the Great Recession, they were at like 70,000. Where are they today? They're north of $100,000 for Orange County. Totally different when you're looking at everything. So stop talking about price. I'm sick of it. I'm done. Because my folks bought a property in Mission Viejo in the 60s and the 70s. They paid like $20,000 at the early 70s, and they were stretching, and they thought $20,000 was too much. Now look at what that house is going for. So we can't focus on price. Price is only one of the factors that you got to look at. So summer transition, we have seasons. We'll talk about it. Permanently parked. We are permanently parked in Orange County. Once every 24 years is how often people are selling in Orange County. Once every 24 years. LA, once every 28. I was in Riverside County. They're the best. That was yesterday. Had to drive through the rain. Got out my oars to get there. And Riverside County is once every 16 years. That doesn't match up with what CAR and NAR are saying. That's once every 11 years. I hated saying that. It used to be once every 5 to 7 years. The reason is because they're doing surveys. Surveys, they'll catch the same young people over and over again because they like to buy and sell over and over again because they have no kids. Then all of a sudden, I've got a kid, I got to have a bigger place. Then they get a bigger place. Then they have more kids and they get bigger and they want a bigger place and they go get another bigger place. So it happens more often. When they get older, like me, and they buy a house, we're staying. You know what happens to baby boomers? Baby boomers are staying. 93% of all baby boomers plan on aging in place, which means they're not moving. They will never be surveyed in CAR or NAR's reports. So it will always be skewed to the lower end, period. So this is real math. Theirs is a survey. This is the total number of transactions or total number of single-family residents and condos, and then the total number of transactions that went through the county recorder's office, which is everything that sells, and you do a math equation, which is what I do, and the turnover rate is once every 24 years in Orange County. I've noticed this for a long time. Some agent pointed it out in Fountain Valley, and it was once every like 35 years that people were moving in Fountain Valley. So that's why I put this thing together, because I was going, this is wrong. So actually CAR, I've talked to them, and they've actually have two. They do the survey and they do the real statistic as well. NAR has not caught up yet. But they are all subscribers to our reports, so they know what the real numbers are. So Lawrence Yun is actually speaking this morning. Who caught Lawrence Yun's thing today? Anybody? I did, you did. Yes, I listened to that. He's a subscriber to the report. He's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. And they just didn't go enough into what their forecast was going to be. Foreclosure rate, we'll talk about that. Last call for 2021, that was a while back, week before Thanksgiving. We're done. We're in the holiday market right now. And I'll tell you what that's about. Luxury stores. It's been nuts. Housing insanity, when will it end? We'll talk about that for sure. How about November housing heat wave? Pretty hot in November, huh? Still pretty hot in December, even though it was like 38 degrees this morning in Ladera Ranch. We went up, we're going, oh my gosh, we don't have this kind of weather. My kids went out, my dog went out, the tiny little dog went out, in. It was that cold. But no, it's still really hot in the housing market, unlike the weather outside, which is probably inventory catastrophe. That was the last one that came out. I really believe that we have an inventory catastrophe. It's awful. But the one that came out last night or 2 nights ago, not about the price. Like I said, I don't want people focusing on the ridiculous price. Let's put it all in perspective. How did my parents buy something for $20,000 and they were like straight? Because what is the best hedge against inflation? Real estate, for Pete's sake. So don't worry about what we do with inflation. It's a great hedge. You freeze your payment at 30 years forever. That's a long time. And after that, you don't have to make a payment at all. So what do? You buy real estate. That's really what it's all about. So I'm tired of listening to people go, what's inflation going to do to our market? I don't know. Go buy a house. And that's it. So seriously, stop talking about it. It's not going to totally kill our marketplace. And how about interest rates? Have they gone up at all recently? I'll explain all that. So reportsonhousing.com, that's where you go and subscribe, and I send you out the most recent thing. There's a bunch of links at the bottom. For all of you that are subscribers, I don't even know if you know how many links we've added stuff. We've added infographics and social media posts. tons and tons of charts. Thanks for the music for that. I love that. And it comes out every 2 weeks. It's $15 per month, $150 per year. You get a month free. You can actually sign up today. I have these forms if you want to sign up if you haven't signed up before. Housing crash. Let's get into that.
But the guy on YouTube said,
Yeah.
but the guy...
Seriously, but the guy on YouTube said...
All 17...
Seriously, if you guys follow me at all, you know how I feel about this. I'm pretty passionate about this. This drives me crazy. I actually go onto the net and YouTube and I comment on some of these ridiculous people every once in a while just because it just totally frustrates me when somebody sends me something and I have to listen to it. I'm going to comment in it and tell them how ridiculous it is. And I still get thumbs ups. Thumbs up. So somebody on there is agreeing with what I'm saying. They don't show thumbs down on YouTube, by the way. So that's why it's so great. So I really don't care. They can thumbs down me all they want, but there's a few thumbs up, so somebody's listening to me. So that's me, by the way. This is truly who I am. This is me. I am a quantitative economics decision scientist. I wear that badge proudly. Why? Because I'm a housing analyst. I love what I do. I love doing this all the time. I love right now, at this time of night, I have lots of kids at home and I'm over here, had a glass of wine, it was fun. Talking to you guys about economics, come on, this is my wheelhouse right here. I have plenty of my kids. So anyways, this is a cockpit. Anybody know how to fly this? I don't. And I'm not going to pretend. I'm not getting behind there. I know that I think from watching enough stuff, you pull back, it goes up, and this thing goes forward. Other than that, I have no idea. No idea. I can't pretend to know what I'm... That's it. But this is my cockpit. Welcome to my cockpit. And I look at this stuff all the time. I know when it drops. Every week, every month, I know exactly when these charts are coming. And I'm super excited about it. I can't wait to see it. And yet, tons of people climb into my cockpit chair over here and tell me what's going on with the housing market. People don't know what I do. I have fellow soccer coaches and stuff like that that tell me how the market's going to implode or whatever, and it drives me crazy. They don't even know what I do, and I go, oh my gosh, seriously, get out of my cockpit, dude. I have no idea what's going on over here, and I don't tell them what I do, because I want to hear what everybody has to say, because I think it's pretty funny also. So stop climbing into my cockpit, please. There's these people that sit there with these, they look fantastic. They know what they're doing, right? Because they're wearing a suit. That makes no difference whatsoever. Seriously, but people trust what they have to say, and the reason they do, and this feeds total social media misinformation and YouTube stuff. Your clients send it to you all the time, don't they? Oh my gosh, yes, it's going to be a crash, there's going to be a wave of foreclosures, there's going to be all this stuff. And you check their credentials, they do not have an economics degree. Typically, they made it big as an investor, and I'll tell you, these investors, they get it right once, and they think they can get it right forever, and they're wrong all the time. The guy that predicted the Big Short has been on CNBC so many times at the 5 o'clock hour, it drives me nuts, because he's been wrong ever since then. But nobody talks about how wrong he is all the time. Instead, they talk about the guy that got it right for the Great Recession. I really don't care. He's gotten it wrong ever since. He's a permanent bear guy. So anyways, social media misinformation, I'm just asking you to please ignore these people. That's it. Follow housing analysts. You don't have to follow me. You don't have to like me. Follow somebody else. There's plenty of them out there, but follow somebody that actually has credentials other than being an investor or they're selling something else. And that's their whole gig is they want to get enough views. I can't even get like 3,000 views total between all my different channels, and they get like 1 million, 100,000 talking about how the market's going to implode. It drives me nuts. That's why I put something on there, not because I want to be paid that way through YouTube. It's because I want everybody to know what the truth is. That's why I do what I do. So home values, I know they've been skyrocketing, and they continue to skyrocket. And this is Case-Shiller's index, and this is compliments of calculated risk. That guy's got tons of charts. He's a geek like myself, so I follow him. And if you look at this is what happened in 2012, 2013. The reason it came down is because interest rates rose from 3.25% all the way up to 4.5% in the year 2013. There was a taper tantrum. I was happy for it because we can't have property values go up like crazy. Here we are in 2020 and 2021. It keeps on going up. In 2012, 2013, it went back down to 5% by the end of 2013 to start out 2014 at 5%. So that was the way, that was 5% appreciation for years. And then we got all the way up this year right now to 20%. And now it's hanging right around 20%. It went down a tiny little fraction. And know that this is dated. but this is the most accurate gauge. Stop following median sales price. That is a bunch of junk. I've educated everybody at Orange County Register to the point where Orange County Register no longer calls me. They use my stuff, but they do not call me anymore because I correct them on so many different levels on different things. Because I'm very passionate about what I do, and they have to talk about how the whole market's going to implode. That's why they have a bubble metrics. I know Jonathan Lancer, he talks about the bubble index. So it's not a bubble. Bubble index 0 right now. I'm so sorry. I just don't see it other than values going up like crazy. So you see that on the right-hand side, everything's going up like crazy. And so as a result, there's a lot of fear. And the fear is this burn. The burn is the Great Recession. Everybody compares now to the Great Recession. I'm here to tell you this: you can't compare the two at all. I used Three Little Pigs analogy at the beginning of 2020 when we went into lockdowns. Why did I use that? Because that one was built on hay, not even hay, like feathers. This one is built with rebar and concrete. So it's very, very hard to blow down. So I know that we got burned, somebody got burned during the Great Recession, but that does not mean that that's what we're doing right now because values are going up so fast. I do not believe that you're buying at the top of the market. There were plenty of people that did, and they bought at the top of the market with 0% down. That's a problem. And they were doing adjustable rate mortgages where they adjust, and then they went, what? They adjusted, they couldn't afford it because they really couldn't afford payments to begin with. They were stuck with a house, everything was underwater. That was a problem because we had a credit bubble. This is the Purchase Application Index from the Mortgage Bankers Association. This comes out every Wednesday. You're trying to keep track because that's what I do. And this is a credit bubble. You see this? This is a number of people that were trying to fog a mirror to purchase a property. As a matter of fact, 2 dogs purchased a house.
I heard about that.
Prior to the Great Recession. How about this? Tons of dead people bought them because there's all of these Social Security numbers tied to dead people that purchased properties. Fantastic. That's great. That's called a credit bubble. There was a lot of problems. It wasn't just lending. It was every aspect of the chain that broke down. Now we've got this. This thing does not look the same. This is just a slight incline, and this is a normal incline. As a matter of fact, it's a boring incline because good economic trends are boring. And this is what happened during the pandemic. We dove down, we spiked, and then we went back down, and now it's found what? Trend. It's back to trend. Matter of fact, this thing came out today, and it went down a little bit. I'm fine with that. That's because it plays around that. It's called trend line, and it's boring because it's not a credit bubble. As a matter of fact, if you do mortgage originations by credit score, look over here. This is prior to the Great Recession, mixed bag of goods right here, right? All different credit scores across the board. Look on the right-hand side. That is strong credit scores. That's 760 plus credit scores. Pretty much everybody that's purchasing, it's the survival of the fittest. The fittest are winning. Those are the people with the biggest down payments. Jonathan Lancer just did a report on the fact that there's much bigger down payments here in California than anywhere else. Why? Because there's nothing on the market. And the biggest, who's winning? People with the biggest down payments. That's why he wants to figure it out. I figured it out for him. He doesn't even have to do a report on it. Doesn't have to write about it. I just did his little analysis on it. But I'm telling you this, everybody is sitting with a ton of equity. And these people with high credit scores have a good job, and they're not going anywhere. Do you think that if the market was to turn, that these people all of a sudden go, yeah, you know what, I'm going to sell my house at a major discount? No, they're staying put. They're not going to move at all or budge on price, which means that we're not going to get this big pushback in price of any kind of crash that anybody's talking about because everybody has a ton of equity. Ton of equity. More equity than ever before. Tappable equity is off the charts right now. And supply and demand, I could see it like a big giant locomotive coming at us. Prior to the Great Recession, there was a problem, and it was called supply glut. We had a gigantic supply problem. And the supply problem is the opposite of the supply problem that we have today. And this is what we did in 2005. So I knew in September of 2005 that we had a problem. So I saw demand come down, and I watched the inventory rise, and I was going, uh-oh, this is a problem, because we went from 5,000 homes on the market all the way to 8,000 homes on the market and didn't peak till late in the year. Usually we peak during the summer. If we peak around October, November, that means there's an issue with the market, and that's what happened in 2005. Then we had, in 2006, we went from 7,500 homes on the market to 16,000 homes. This is prior to the thing imploding. I'm looking at this going, holy smokes, we have an issue. And then we went to 18,000 in 2007. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to update you guys on what the inventory is at right now today.
Like 6?
So exciting.
12?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's pretty much down. It's already been at record territory since October, but I have a new number for you today. You're the first ones that get to hear it. So, Great Recession, over 40% of all mortgages had less than 10% equity. That's not the big one I want you to follow. I want you to follow this one. 28% of all mortgages were fully underwater. That's a lot, right? That's more than 1 out of every 4. That's a lot of people out there that were fully underwater. And here is what happens with forbearance. This is courtesy of Black Knight, comes out every Friday. And it dropped from 1.9% to 1.7% last week to this week. Get a new read this Friday. That was one of the biggest drops I'd seen in a long time because it went from 1 million down to 882. Giant drop. We only have 882,000 people across the United States, not just California, currently in forbearance. That's not that many. That's not 28% of all mortgages. That's 882. That's 1.7% of all mortgages. 93% of these people have 10% plus equity. How about this? 4.3 million in June of 2020 was the height of the number of people in forbearance at one time. How about this one? 7.7 million people have taken advantage of forbearance so far. Anybody know this stuff? I know it because Black Knight comes out with this thing every single month. It's the first Monday of the new month. So, so now you know what to look for. And this is what I follow because I'm excited to report this is what they say. 6.7 million exited forbearance. 6.7 million. This was as of last month. So they're a month behind. I really don't care because they do such good research. The number of the 6.7 million that are performing is 4 million. That's 59%, which means they either paid it off in a lump sum, did a payment plan, or deferred it to the end. And it's equal amount. You'd think that everybody deferred to the end, but it's not true. There's a whole mixed bag as to what they're doing. They're working with the workout units. 28% paid it off, 1.9 people. If you do the math, that's 87%. It was at 90%. It's coming down a little bit. Why? This is what's increasing the most. Delinquent, but working with the workout unit. This went from 200 to 543,000. Just in the last 3 months. The reason it is so high is because everybody's coming out of forbearance at the same time and they're all working with the workout unit to figure out what do they have to do. They have to sell. Some of these refinanced, because if they refinance, they come out of this thing as well. Or they're performing on the loan. So they're going to work out those two. The number that are truly delinquent, no longer working with the workout unit, 264,000. Now, how many are currently in foreclosure or short sale? Or that are currently in the foreclosure land? 38,000 in all of the United States. Doesn't sound like a wave, does it? It's not. It's not a wave of foreclosures. I'm here to tell you, so sorry for all those people that thought it was. I still have people that go, and I'm doing a lot of NODs. I go, I don't care what you're doing. I can show you in the numbers across the United States we're not having a wave of foreclosures, period. And it's not a bubble. It's not a housing crash because the housing stock is way too strong. All the homeowners out there are way too strong. A lot of cash is won, a lot of big down payments. Here in California, just said giant down payments. That's really strong because equity's gone up with these giant down payments. So we are sitting in a really good spot here in California. Instead, I'm tired of saying it, this is unhealthy. Everybody knows what this is. This is Super Bowl eating. It's every single solitary day we are doing what I refer to as unhealthy eating. And that is what we're doing. So where are rates headed? Rates are at 3.1% as of last Thursday. This comes out every Thursday. This is with 1 point down, if you're a mortgage person in the room. Yeah, why? Because back in the day, you had to put 1 point down. And now you can do these 0-point loans and you get a higher interest rate. But so know that this is what it looks like. Why do they do 1 point down? Because they have data that goes all the way back to 51 years. So in order to compare apples to apples, they have to put 1 point. It's at 3.1% with 1 point down, and that's where it is as of last Thursday. A new one will come out tomorrow. So yeah, that's. I know that it's been lower. 3.1% might seem high. Some people were freaking out. COVID-19 started in March of 2020. I'm here to tell you that 3.1% is an all-time low prior to COVID. So if you want to compare to prior to COVID, 3.1% is a great rate, which is why there's so much demand out there, even at 3.1%. This is the low point. 2.65% was the first week of January. And we hit 2.77 in August, but I'll get into that. This is 10-year Treasury. Who follows 10-year Treasury in this room? You can follow the 10-year Treasury. I've tried to educate everybody. The reason why I follow 10-year Treasury, and you can too, is because 30-year mortgages, the investors for 30-year mortgages, is the same investor for 10-year bonds. So if you look at it, they typically do about the same thing. When 10-year goes up, so do mortgage rates. When 10-year comes down, so do mortgage rates, which is why you follow them, because it's great to see exactly what's going on. If there's a big drop, know that rates are typically going to drop. That's why last year we had rates, 10-year dropped below 1% for the first time ever. That's why we had rates drop like they did. They should have even dropped even more, but there was this disconnect. And I'm not going to get in the weeds to tell you exactly what that was. But this is year to date. We had rates, or 10-year bonds going up till March. We had interest rates go all the way up until we hit March, 3.18%. And I was so excited because we were going the right direction, because we need to go this direction in order for things to slow down just a tad. So you have not 100 people through your open house, maybe 20. Maybe 3 offers on your house, not 50. And this is what I'm rooting for. I'm so sorry, but that's what I'm rooting for, because what we're dealing with right now is dumb. And it's time for it to end. And the only way for it to end is for prices to get too high or for mortgage rates to rise. Then we had we had 10-year go down, and so did we have interest rates go down. In August, we hit 2.77%, and I was ticked. And then it went back up. I was happy. Then it went down, then it went up, and then went down. Recently, it's been doing something really screwy. It's been like messing with everybody's heads, and it's been going between 3 and 3.1%. And what we're having is we have this dual problem of Omicron and inflation. They're kind of like playing with each other. And people think inflation is really, really bad, and this thing is here to stay. And I've had people send me all this junk, plenty of junk, about why inflation is so bad and why the current administration. I try to pull politics out of it completely and look at it kind of like, okay, what's really going on? And I'm here to tell you that most likely inflation will be less than where it is right now today in a year from now. Not a whole lot less, and then in 2023, a lot better. So it will take time. Not very temporary, is it? But Omicron, as long as we have we have a mask mandate, started today. I forgot it when I came up here. I was going, whoops, forgot the mask. I went back to the car, got it. Here we are again. As long as we have some sort of COVID in the system, it's really going to mess with things to keep a lid on rates and 10-year Treasury. There's a lot of volatility, and volatility means that typically the 10-year does not move much. Now, we've all heard this Fed tapering. I'm not going to get into that other than to tell you that MBS new purchases went from $40 billion to $35 billion in November. This is they're buying our mortgage-backed securities. Everything that's government done, they go ahead and say, you know what, we'll buy it, that type of thing. Well, Fed went out in turn, and they're purchasing all this stuff, mortgage-backed securities, and they've been purchasing it at a very rapid pace for a long time at $40 billion per month. They went to $35 billion in November, $30 billion in December, and they announced today they're doing 10, 10, 10, and they'll be done with it in March. You think they're done with it. They're no longer going to play in mortgage-backed security land, right? You are totally wrong. Because there's something else they do is called mortgage-backed security reinvestment. They haven't talked about, they did say something in the fine print today, but not a lot of people picked it up. And basically, they're going to continue to do what they've been doing, and that's $60 billion per month. What happens is people refinance, or they pay off their mortgage, they sell their home, they get this back, or they get interest payments that come back. What do they do with all that money? They're reinvesting it in mortgage-backed securities. That's called mortgage-backed security reinvestment. So when they're talking about tapering, they're talking about this, they're going to continue to do this until they say that they're no longer going to do it, which I'm hoping they actually announce it, because like I told you, I want them to do it faster rather than slow. So let's see. There we go. All right. So what makes interest rates go up? Good COVID news. Jobs reports. We had a miss. Last jobs report wasn't very good. Stimulus packages, infrastructure. This is where we dump a lot of money. That makes it go in. Also, inflation makes it go up. Like long-term inflation. Matter of fact, we've had inflation at 6.8%. It's the highest since 1982. Wow. And that's where it was coming down. I know, it's total wow. And then if you look at the 3-year average, it's going the wrong direction because they want to keep that thing as close to 2%. They've done a great job so far. But the problem is, COVID disrupted everything. It really made it an issue. And if you look at rental companies, and used vehicle prices, they're up like 58%, 68%. It's pretty ridiculous. New cars is only up like 12%. Still, if you're buying a brand new car, what do they say? Yeah, you can get a brand new car. It's this, $38,000, and it's a $10,000 COVID premium you have to pay, and you'll get your car in 2 weeks. That's what's going on right now. And this thing will continue for quite some time, at least for the next year. And then gas. Gas is up like 50% or something stupid like that. It's something dumb. And all coincides at the same time because all of a sudden everybody got in their cars. No one was driving, now everybody's driving again, and it's causing a problem, a run on gas, and we weren't producing like we were before internationally, because that's where it's at. So transitory, yeah, they had that wrong. So they dropped that language last month, and now it's no longer temporary because we're still talking about it. This has been quite some time that they've been talking about it. Really, this is it. This is the root of all evil, is coronavirus. Doesn't matter which side of the aisle you play on. The bottom line is this disrupted not only the United States, but everywhere. The UK is having the same problem. Everybody's having a problem. Canada's having a problem. Everybody's having a problem around the world. And it's coronavirus disrupted everything. It depleted all of our inventories. There were factories that were shut down. Meat prices have gone way up. But those are the ones that were hit the hardest with COVID. And then they couldn't provide meat. And then they have a problem with trucking and all that stuff. So there's so many aspects of this that's broken. Supply chain is not just about the trucks in California. It's everywhere around the world. The supply chain is an issue. And this is an issue. There's many points. As a matter of fact, I had a picture of Hong Kong before, and then somebody said, I feel so bad that you only have a picture of Hong Kong. They flew out of LA and took a picture of this and sent it to me. I thought this was great. This is off of Long Beach. I've got an updated picture. But yes, so there is an issue, and this is an issue. Everybody's going electronic. Everybody's got the latest stuff. You've probably done research, and you have the best microphone and the best equipment and all that stuff. That's what we've done. We bought it all. There's been a run on it. Factories were shut down, and then we depleted all their inventories, and now they don't want to buy. They don't want to make them for cars. And because it's the most antiquated chip technology out there. They don't want to do it, and they said, go pound sand, we're not making it because we were going to make these that make us more money. So now, like Ford is having to go down to Mexico and build a plant so that they can make their antiquated chips. So it's going to take, how long is that going to take for them to do that?
18 months.
Yeah, 18 months. So yeah, that was, so end of next year, there you go, new cars will be coming to a theater near you. But what am I really upset about? It's not that will eventually work itself out. It's just going to take a while. What am I most concerned about? Jobs. Jobs is a real issue, and it's not the lack of jobs. It's quite the opposite. There's a real problem that's out there. We're right now at 4.2 million people that are unemployed, which is November 2017. In November 2017, were you really worried about unemployment? No, you were not worried about unemployment. So I turned this thing around, and I totally am changing my focus on this. This is Bureau of Labor and Statistics. This is the problem. The Great Resignation, everybody's quitting out there. We've had lots of, matter of fact, last month though, it was a little bit down, but still record territory for 4 months in a row. And then you got job opening rebound. Over 11 million jobs opened. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. That's pretty fantastic because here's the problem. 0.7 workers available for every job opening. There's not a 0.7 person. So that's less than one person for every job opening. So you got that? So what that is there are fewer people looking for work than there are job openings, which puts pressure on pricing. Matter of fact, I saw in McDonald's there was a $21 per hour that they were offering for McDonald's. You guys know what that is. That's like $42,000 per year, right? $20 per hour. So so if they're doing that, Big Macs are going up. That's it. You're going to pay more for a Big Mac. You're going to pay more for everything across the board. So that puts real pressure on inflation. This is what I'm watching more than anything else. You can get rid of all that other supply chain stuff and all that. I know it's a sexy term that sells the press, but I like to talk about jobs because that's really where it's at. So that's what I'm watching. And there's this real stickiness to this, that once inflation fixes itself, the prices aren't going to come back down. They're just going to stay where they were or where they are. And so just expect that this is where prices are going to be. What's the best hedge against inflation? I've already talked about it. It's real estate. It's what we do. So do that. I've heard some people go, yeah, it's better to invest. People don't invest right across the United States. The best hedge against inflation so that makes you do it is this, period. Or go ahead and get Bitcoin. I'm going to read a few books on Bitcoin over the holidays because I'm still not convinced. I still think it's a bit of gambling when my kid's telling me about Bitcoin and he has known nothing about economics. You're zero. You should really try Bitcoin. Seriously. That's like gambling now that you've told me that. I have a concern. So 2.75%, 3.5% is where interest rates will be. I know that's a big range, but I don't think they're going to get to the 3.9% that Chapman said. Earlier this year, they said 4.75%. So they just got all the way down to 3.9%. So they said that we're that we're going to come down in price at the end of this next year. I don't know what they're looking at. They subscribed to my report too. He subscribes to my report. He was talking there saying what interest rates were going to do. At least he's come back on his interest rates, but he's got it wrong. Insane seller's market, 2.75%. So lower the interest rate, the more insane the market. When we get to 3.5%, it's not quite as insane, but it's still a seller's market. And we'll get into that. So the housing market, speaking of the market, yeah, insane. I did have a woman up there, and somebody goes, you have a lot of women up here that look crazy. Okay, fine. There you go. Here's my crazy dude. I hope you're happy with him. He looks nuts. He looks like he has 9 kids. He just woke up. Supply and demand. So we have the reverse problem of a supply glut. We have a supply catastrophe at this point. In Orange County and San Diego County, it really is a catastrophe. They don't talk about Orange County enough. They say San Diego because we're lumped in with LA. For whatever reason, we're lumped in with LA. LA is already the biggest metro in the United States of America. Let's lump Orange County in there too. We're totally different. We do things different than they do. Kay Schiller is one of those. We're lumped in LA, by the way. So it's a catastrophe. Oh, by the way, if you believe in this economic cycle every 10 years, stop. There's not. There's no such thing. And if you have a client that says, hey, every 10 years, the market goes down in real estate. Okay, fine. Have them contact me. They can educate me because I've been looking since the 80s for this little piece of information as to how this happens. Bless you. I have no idea what they're talking about when they say every 10 years there's an economic cycle. That's another thing that gets me hot. So seasonality is the real cycle that we have, and we have it every year. There are not 4 seasons, but there are 5 seasons. Holiday market, that's where we're in right now. Spring is number 1. What's the number 1 month for homes coming on the market?
February.
It's not March, because March is technically, I know, we're in a hot state, so March is still winter all the way up till the end. It's not April either. Number 1's May. Number 1's May. You guys are getting closer. You're running out of months, too. You've been a good audience. Thank you for playing with me. So, and the number 1 month for, as far as demand is concerned, when does it typically peak, is May also. And why? Because it revolves around families. Families want to place their homes on the market during the spring and close when? June, July. They come on the market in May. They can do that in June, July, August. It's totally fine. That's exactly why they do that. So inventory and demand plunge, that's the holiday market. That's where we are today. And why does that happen? December is the fewest number of homes that come on the market. November is the second fewest number of homes that come on the market. January is either 3rd or 4th, depending upon the county, fewest number of homes coming on the market. So with that few number of homes coming on the market, and how many homes do we have on the market right now? Like none. Because here we go, Orange County supply, this is where we are right now, that's 0. December 9th, I've got an update since December 9th. You guys get it. 1,363, down 6% or down 94 homes. Lowest level since tracking. It started in October. It continues to do it right now, today. Last year we were at 3,152. That's 131% more. 100% more or plus means double. By the way, what were you guys complaining about last year? Funny, huh? We can't even go any lower than this, and then we did. 3152 happened to be the number of homes that were in March of 2013. I go, man, I hope we never get that low ever again. We did. 3-year average is about 5,000 homes, which is 266% more than where we are today, which is making its way towards quadruple where we are right now. The peak was July 25th. This is a pitiful housing inventory, and that's a pitiful peak Usually it looks more like a Himalaya. But it peaks during the summer. It did. It's gone down 46% since. I know you don't believe me, but that is 46%. Today, you guys are here to hear it first. 1,251 homes on the market. 1,251 for the entire Orange County. Condos, townhomes, residential. Went down 8%. And I'm not even done because I'm not to Thursday yet. Thursday's coming. That's tomorrow. We'll see what it does by then. And yep, that's because we're plunging right now. And that's where we typically peak. That's where we peaked. Where's it going to go from here? Down. I just showed you that. Where are all the homes? For Pete's sake, why aren't there more homes on the market? This was already a problem prior to COVID. Then COVID hit, and then 50% fewer homes came on the market. Well, here's what happened since 2020 and 2021 combined. We were missing about a total of 5,000 homes through November. 5,000.
That's just resale, right?
That's residential resale. This is the number of homes that are typically on the market. I'm comparing it to 2017 to 2019, prior to the pandemic, the number of homes that enter the market. And you guys would think, well, there's a lot of people that sell it without placing it on the market. They do these pocket listings type of thing. Guess what they do? They place it in escrow and sell it, and then they go backwards and place it in the MLS so that you can track how great they're doing. But they never put it on the MLS. And I've tracked it. Why do I know that? Because I go backwards in time and I notice how it keeps on going up even after we hit that date. November is still growing right now. November, the number of homes that hit the market in November is still growing right now. So I've been watching that phenomenon for a while. COVID-19 is not really why homes aren't coming on the market. It might be for a few people, maybe in Laguna Woods. It's not that's not what the issue is. I know CAR was asking you guys, do you have anybody that's not placing their home on the market because of COVID-19? Instead, it's where will I go? Come on, what am I gonna go buy? The biggest thing right now that I hear is lawsuits with sellers they're gonna like lawyer up right now because they close escrow and they have no place to move. They don't have a place to rent. They don't have a place to go buy. There's nothing for them to do, so they're staying put. It's causing a problem, a logjam, and so it's where will I go? So they don't even want to, homeowners don't want to participate in this ridiculousness. Instead, they're more than happy to be a fat cat, sit back. My value's going up. I'm going to check Zillow every month. Good laugh. That's right. That's pun intended. Thank you for that. I always have one person that totally gets that pun. Yes, check Zillow. Because I was following iBuyer at the beginning of the year. I looked at like 20 properties and I went, man, there's a real problem here. Who's running this thing? And then they like quadrupled down after that. And I was going, this is going to be a disaster. Disaster. And then a lot of people go, yeah, Zillow. They know something that we don't know. Yeah, they know how to not do it right. To get out of iBuying. By the way, iBuying, it will be a tiny infinitesimal amount of what everybody does, period. It's so little, so just know that. Orange County demand, that's the last 30 days worth of escrow activity, kind of nutty. The fuel are these low interest rates. Oh, by the way, how about this one? Now you have government-backed mortgages almost $1 million, 970,000, 800,000, which means pretty much over, because you could put 5% down. Here's the difference. Back in the day, you couldn't put 5% down. Now you can put 5% down with this kind of a program. And now you're looking at what's 5% down of $1 million, 50 grand. So $200,000 home back in the day, you used to have to put 20% down. How much did they have to put down? 40 grand. 40 grand back then is a lot larger than 50 grand today. So you see how much easier it is to purchase today. So this is just going to add to demand, by the way. And everything, as a result, is selling for like an auction where the reserve price is the asking price, and everything's selling for over asking. The number of homes that are selling above list, I don't have it for November yet. They haven't announced it yet. It's at 60.2% of all closed sales is selling for above the asking price in all of the state of California, all price ranges. And it got above 70% for May, June, and July. It's coming back down. It's going down right now, and people are going, oh, that's because values, the market's changing right now, and it's starting to shift a little bit. It's not as hot as it was. That's not what the problem is. It's called seasonality. It does it every single year. There's a seasonality curve to this thing. As a matter of fact, I know what's going into escrow right now. Everything's selling for above asking price, so I think January and February we're going to start to see that climb from where we are today. So, and I think we might even be able to exceed 70%. Because of the lack of inventory. The median time on the market for everything that's sold in the month of October in California is 11 days. That's it. 101.5% is the sales to list price ratio, means the average home selling for 1.5% above the asking price in all of California for the month of October. And demand, this is the last 30 days worth of escrow activity. Like I said, December 9th, 1,944. It was down 12% or down 277 pending sales. This was, last year was at 2621. That was 35% more. That looks like a lot more last year, doesn't it? But you can't discount this big V. We didn't do anything during the lockdowns of the beginning of the pandemic. Everybody freaked out. Now when we hear about Omicron and everything else, does anybody freak out? No. We're used to it now. This was a freak out because we'd never dealt with it before. We were wondering if we were going to be able to sell real estate again. So don't worry about that. And this was a 4-month delay in our spring market. 3-year average is 1,774. That's 2017 to 2019. That's 9% less than where we are today, which means 3-year average is less than where we are today, and we're not placing enough homes on the market, and we don't have anything on the market. So everything that's going in on the market is being pushed right into escrow. So the peak was on April 1st at 3,162. That's down 39% since. And today is at 1,814. So it's down another 7% since December 9th. So this is where it typically peaks. We peaked right before it. A lot of it has to do with inventory reasons. And where are we going to go from here? It's just going to plunge right along that 2019 line. So how fast is the market moving? Fast. 21 days, up a day, December 9th. Well, 2 weeks ago was the lowest ever. We were at 20 days. It went up to 21 days. So it's a whole day slower. Did you feel the difference? Neither did I. Last year was at 37 days. Last year we thought it was such a hot market, and this year is even hotter, way hotter. It's at 21 days is ridiculous. The 3-year average is 87 days, and today is actually at 21 days. So it's just as where it was almost 2 weeks ago. It's extremely hot. And the only way I can show you how hot it is the speedometer. I know it's reversed numbered because when you get over here, this is like going really slow because the expected market time is a lot longer. During the Great Recession, it got to like 240 days. And then you go from, this is where we shed like $20,000 a month type of thing. This is a slight buyer's market, not shedding much in value. Buyers get to make more of the shots, call more of the shots. Balanced market. Just because it's not a seller's market doesn't make it a buyer's market. There's something called equilibrium. I'm tired of economists even put this up there. There is something called a balanced market. It doesn't become a seller to a buyer's market. It's kind of like there's a balance where there's a tug of war between buyers and sellers. Then slight seller's market. Anything below 60 is a hot seller's market, and look where we are today. That is really, really hot at 30 days. And this is between here and here is a slight seller's market. Below here is a hot seller's market. 2019 was a slight seller's market because we got to 5% interest rates at the end of 2018. So we had a lot of extra inventory for 2019, and it ruined our spring market. I was fine with it because we didn't have values going up like crazy. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you guys can see this a little bit better. Yeah, at 40 days below is insane. And we're at 20 days, so I don't even know what to call that. I don't know what to call it. It's pretty nutty. It's going to be like that for the rest of the year, and it's going to start here, and then it's going to go down, and we're going to hit some new weird low in March. So the expected market time. In Fountain Valley, we're at 11 days. I have it for last year as well, but I just know that it was more last year. Huntington Beach is at 23 days. Costa Mesa is at 24 days. Newport Beach is at 53 days. Laguna Beach is at 78 days. Dana Point's at 37 days. Laguna Niguel is at 16 days. Aliso Viejo is at 7. I've never even seen anything below 10 before. Congratulations, Aliso Viejo in the room. Yes, I don't even know why I was announcing it. I didn't understand it. It's going to sell instantly. It's already sold.
I had 3 days.
Yeah.
In Fountain Valley.
Fountain Valley is a nutty market too. Fountain Valley's crazy because that's 11 days.
So Laguna is 78 days. Is that only because of price?
Yeah, it's all because of price. This is all because of price. 78 days in Laguna Beach is unbelievable because that's taken into consideration 3, 4, what was the one that sold over the weekend or what last month? $70 million. $70 million? Seriously. I'm going to go home in your limo with that $70 million. So Irvine, 22 days. Tustin, 19 days. The bottom line is everything's nuts. Everything's crazy. Home values are skyrocketing. I know that they are based upon what I'm looking at. I don't care what any of the papers are saying. I really don't care what the median price sales says. I know you're dealing with overpriced I mean, not overpriced. Lots of multiple listings, and they're going way over the asking price. I know that because I'm looking at the metrics. I know what they're saying. Home values are skyrocketing. I do not see an end to this. I wish I could say, I see a crack. I would say it. I said it in 2018. I said it in the May of 2018, cracks the market, and sure enough, 2018 was cracked. We got 5% interest rates and everything slowed down. I don't see it. When I see it, I'll talk about it. I just don't see it. Sorry. So when will this market slow? When interest rates rise. That's really when interest rates go up, and that happened in 2013 and 2018. We went from 3.25% all the way up to 4.5%, and as a result, we saw our inventory rise, and we had a late peak. We had it in 2018. We went from 4%, 5%, and inventory rose, and we had a late peak. Why does that happen? Because demand starts to diminish because values, because they get a little scared when interest rates go up, but we see this. We see that inventory go up when demand falls, market times rise, and that's what happened in 2013 and 2018. So really you need to talk about affordability. We're not unaffordable, but there is something called mortgage rate sensitivity. We are sensitive to higher rates. I knew that this was a problem when I started hearing millennials say, I can't imagine interest rates above 5%. So then I knew that was our threshold, 5%. I believed the millennials, and they were right. Because 10%, we can't afford that. That was 2000, the year 2000. 8% was the year, that was 1990. 8% was 2000. 6.35% was prior to the Great Recession. That's a joke of an interest rate compared to today. 5% is where we hit at November 2018. Millennials were right when they were talking about it. 4% is where I thought that the height was at the beginning of this year because of how values have come up. It's no longer 4%. My argument is it's 3.75%. I think we're going to get way more appreciation than NAR and CAR given credit to how low our inventory is right now today. And so I think it's going to be 3.5%. It's going to be the top where things start to slow down. Not slow down where it becomes a buyer's market. Slow down so it's more of a slight seller's market type of thing to a hot seller's market. We'll just have to see how much appreciation we get next year. But right now, 3.75% is tops. And why? Because they do the math. They go, what in the world? Man, look how much values are and interest rates are up higher, and especially in our neck of the woods, when interest rates go up a little bit, it really does start to make a difference. And as a result, we'll just get fewer buyers in the marketplace. When you get fewer buyers, it slows down a bit. So market overview, and then we'll get into, there's a lot of millennials in the marketplace. Started last year. There's a lot of millennials, period. They've been buying for a long time. But last year, it became the highest number of prime first-time home buyers, 32 years old, that we've ever seen, ever. And it started last year. This year's bigger. Next year's even bigger, and it goes on for the next 3 years. So that's what we're dealing with right now. So it's adding to demand. And these millennials that we picked on, that we said that they are strapped with debt, they're not going to be able to buy. Ask a lender. They've had lots of help, haven't they? And they've got great balance sheets, don't they? So stop picking on them. Go pick on somebody else. Alpha, that's Zeke. Pick on the alpha generation. Because millennials, they're buying. They're actually moving out of the parents' house or moving out of their multiple roommate situation, and they're getting married. And then they're going to have babies. They're doing what humans do. So move on to somebody else. Not all homes are selling instantly. It's 46%, 623 homes that have been on the market for more than a month.
Overpriced.
Yeah, no, they fell out of escrow. A lot of these have fallen out of escrow, or they're really high values. If they fall out of escrow, they no longer have brand new listing banner, and buyers are just tricked to look for new listing. If it doesn't say new listing, they're not as excited. That's a banner that's missing when they fall out of escrow, so that's awful. How about the ones that have been on the market for 2 months plus? Now we're getting towards luxury. Only 390 homes in all of Orange County. Only 270 homes have been on the market for more than 3 months, period. And this is ultra luxury. So there's a reason for it. So just know that. I've never seen anything like that, by the way. November, closed sales down 10% compared to last year. Those are the green lines. You're going, yeah, we're doing a lot better last year than we were this year. But then we had months like this that nobody's like talking about. That was awful. That was the month of May. And January to November, we're up 20% over last year. So we're doing a lot more sales. As a matter of fact, it's the most sales since 2005 here in Orange County. LA is the same. It's the two counties that have done the most sales since 2005, residential resales. And the values are a lot higher too, aren't they? So luxury is surging. Luxury is this on the right. I've never seen anything like this. Luxury is $1.5 million plus. Don't throw your tomatoes yet. I'll fix this in a second. So green was last year, red is this year. You can't anticipate anything like this. We've had a lot of luxury close sales. November, we were up 42% over last year. January to November, we're up 89%, almost double where we were last year, and last year was a record year. So we're at a record level this year, of course. 1.5 million was the start of this year. It's top 10% of all closed sales. The top 10% will change for 2021. What will luxury become? Anybody have a guess? 2 million. 2 million plus is luxury now. That's it. That's the new threshold. That'll be coming January of 2022, so right around the corner. And rents are going up. They're skyrocketing. There's a little lag to what happened in residential resale, but it is skyrocketing now. It is off the charts. If you don't believe me, look at what rents have done. It's nutty. So just know that. So let's do the 2022 forecast. Don't quite know. It was really foggy here the other day. They closed down John Wayne. So you know what? When I see something like this, like I was driving in the rain yesterday to Temecula, and I was following a truck, and I couldn't see. It was like this. I slowed down. So I'm going to slow down for a second. Uncertainty. I didn't know that there would be a COVID virus. I didn't even know what COVID meant. We all are very educated on that now. And I didn't know that, I thought Delta was it. Omicron's here. There you go. We have no idea. Uncertainty is out there, right? I didn't even know Omicron was even a letter in the Greek alphabet. I knew of the other one, Omega. So Omicron is, that's Omega, you know what it looks like. Omicron, I didn't even know what, it's just an O. That's it. I didn't even know it. Anybody here Delta, Omicron? No. So there you go. Future Greek. Greek row. Rates remain low. That's a worry of mine. So is Washington, D.C. Always a worry of mine. Wages rise too fast. I told you that's my real concern with inflation. Buyers fatigue. I try to get them back into the center ring over and over again. Values rise too fast. That's a concern of mine. And unrealistic sellers, because basically this thing's going to slow down the road. I want to make sure that you guys are equipped with the housing report, because they're going to need some talking to, because after 2 weeks they're going to go, what do you do? What are you doing? How come my home hasn't sold? What's your problem? What are you doing to market my house? That's what you guys are going to hear. So the 2022 forecast is distress rises slightly, no wave. Normal housing seasons. So we'll follow the normal pattern. First half will be hot due to limited inventory, and I think that rates will rise all the way up towards 3.5%. Second half will be slower with higher rates. Record low inventory to start the year, under 1,200 homes. We're already almost there, right? So, but I was doing this a long time ago, so under 1,200 is pretty accurate at this point. Rising inventory eclipsing 5,000 homes. 5,000 is not even average, but it's getting towards average. We're making our way there. Demand, recent pending sales down slightly year over year. Closed sales down 3 to 6%. So 2021 is a record year. We're just going to be a little bit less than this year. Not as low as 2020, which 2020 was a good year, but in between the two. Luxury continues to soar, but slightly muted compared to 2021 as year progresses. We're going to get a little bit more volatility in the marketplace, and when we have that, it really affects the luxury end. Increase in move-up sellers. So as we get more inventory, we should have more move-up sellers. And buyers motivated by low rates, but not as willing to stretch. Especially as rates go up, and so do values. Appreciation in 2022, up 8 to 10%. People say this is conservative, but this is by the time I get to the end of 2022, it will be up 8 to 10%. Interest rates between 2.75% and 3.5%. And there we go. That's all I have.